I have to preface everything I'm about to say by starting with, I don't envy professional fighters in the slightest, in terms of what they have to deal with when it comes to media, fans, and the promotion. Whether it be online criticism, hate, and any and all things to do with that aspect of the sport, I have to imagine that dealing with this sort of thing is a lot harder than most realize. So before getting into what I have to say, I want to be clear that I'm in no way judging or criticizing Kayla Harrison as a person or as an athlete. In fact, I think that everything she has done career-wise up until this point was the right move, a no-brainer. And anyone in the position she found herself in would be wise to do exactly what she has done up until this point. You have a very small window in MMA to make a living and to make a name for yourself, so you have to leave no stone unturned and take full advantage of whatever you possibly can. With that out of the way, I've been busting at the seams for a long time to simply state that Kayla Harrison is not a star. And I mean, not by any stretch is that woman a luminary in MMA. She is not a star. She is an individual who found herself in a very favorable and fortunate circumstance to start off her career. She was granted advantages that go way beyond anything the other 99% of the population that gets into this sport will ever get. And I hear ya. She's unlike the vast majority of athletes who get into this thing because she's a 2-time gold medal Olympian in judo. So I grant you the fact that she entered this game with a status that outshines most. However, and I don't mean to disregard the Olympic status and accomplishments, but right from the get-go of her career, I made sure that I wasn't misled by the title itself of Olympic gold medalist. She's a 2-time gold medalist, and that is amazing. I'm by no means trying to marginalize the accomplishment. But what exactly is the history and the details of those wins, and what went on for her to reach that status? What I mean is, I personally don't know a single thing about the depth of the women's 172-pound judo division in the 2012 and 2016 Olympics. I didn't follow it at the time, and I don't know a thing about the competition she was up against. I'm not saying that what she did wasn't something remarkable. I'm just saying it's something I didn't blindly put her up on the MMA pedestal for. That is because when it was announced she was signed to the World Series of Fighting, which of course became the PFL, and I saw the immediate hype and publicity she was getting before even stepping into the cage, it was absolutely clear what the promotion was doing. How could it not be? It was as blatant as could be. Fresh off the heels and ascension to superstardom that Olympic bronze medalist Ronda Rousey had experienced, the PFL was basically saying, well, hey, if a female Olympic bronze medalist became this big entity, just wait to see what happens with the 2-time Olympic gold medalist. And they proceeded to go all in on this girl promotion-wise, career-building-wise for the years that followed. Because it was so obvious of what they were doing, I rejected this notion from the very start and refused to buy into what a megastar and incredible talent Kayla Harrison was from the very beginning. It was so clear they were trying their hand at creating a Ronda Rousey situation based on her status and not what she accomplished inside MMA. You could say all you want about Ronda Rousey, but one thing that is for certain is that her uprising and ascension to superstardom came about in a totally organic fashion. Whereas you have Harrison in this situation that has been entirely manufactured. And all of this based on competing in a weight division that barely even exists. I understand that when building up a fighter from the very beginning of a career, you have to get cage time to develop and get experience. It's the very method in which the sport of boxing is used to build many of its stars. But we've been getting sold Kayla Harrison as being a star by some of the most influential people in this game for years now, when she just doesn't have the career that warrants that status. When she ended up having her first fight and getting a win at PFL 2 in 2018, the promotion posted that a star was born and proceeded to run with it years after the fact. This, coupled with some of the most influential people in the sport telling us until they're blue in the face about what a star and amazing talent she is, I personally never bought it for a second. I don't mean to put this on her. It's hard to state these points without sounding like I'm being critical of Kayla herself. It's more of me being critical of the machine that put her here in the first place. With respect to her previous opponents, she hasn't even been given the opportunity to prove she's a star. That is until now. At UFC 300, Kayla Harrison makes her UFC debut against former bantamweight champion Holly Holm, and that is no easy entry into the big show, let me tell you. Harrison has been in what I consider to be very favorable circumstances since her MMA career began. And as we head into her UFC debut, I feel like for the first time, she's now in less than favorable circumstances. Having to face Holly Holm is a massive step up in competition, and that's putting it mildly. Couple that with the fact that she's in for a media schedule and media attention unlike anything she's ever experienced before, that in itself is enough to totally frazzle people. Then there's quite possibly the biggest challenge of it all, which is a substantial weight cut she's going to have to endure. And I mean substantial. Kayla is a big girl. The vast majority of her judo competition came out at 172 pounds. And on Friday morning of April 12th, after quite possibly the busiest and most hectic fight week of her entire life, she's going to have have to weigh in at 136 pounds. That is a very, very tall order when you take everything into consideration. The morning of the UFC 300 weigh-ins is going to be very telling, and how she shows up is going to speak volumes about whether or not she can become what we've been told she is for so long now. I realize a lot of what I'm saying has a negative connotation. I don't mean to make it seem that way, because the truth is, I'm pulling for Harrison, and at no point here am I saying she can't or won't be a star. I'm just saying she isn't a star, at least not yet.